they want that they feel like they need. And they need starting pitching. They need at least one starting pitching. And that's if everything goes perfect and you get Sale back and Kluber comes back, a different guy throwing strikes. I don't know. He give you some innings. Whitlock comes back. Houck comes back. That should be gravy. You know what I mean? Like that should put us over the top if those guys can come back. But they need a starter desperately, just to kind of get through this whole thing. And of course, not sell off the big pieces. You could sell off guys like Duvall, I think, and they'll survive with Duran playing every day. A guy like Kike or Arroyo or another infielder, or maybe it's just Reyes or whatever it may be, because you need to open up some spots. But when you trade away James Paxton, that's going to send the wrong message. You know, and that to me is the litmus test. That's the white flag.
Lou Merloni with us here on the Brady Farkas Show, WDEV, AM and FM, WDEVradio.com. I want to ask you about Kike Hernandez, because for weeks I've been saying to trade him so that you don't have to deal from the minor league depth, and I think he could bring you a nice return because of his versatility. But now, last couple of games, he's starting at second base, appears to have overtaken Arroyo in that regard. So does he feel like a guy now you have to keep?
Yeah, I don't think you have to. It's funny. I think Arroyo's dealing with the thumb, and that's one of the reasons why he hasn't played here recently. And you could very easily, with getting Reyes back here on Tuesday, he could retro an IL spot for Arroyo just for paperwork and kind of keep him on an IL until the deadline.
Yep.
Right, and just sort of see how things kind of unfold. But I do think Kike is valuable for a team. I don't think you really get much in return unless you package him with something else for like utility guys. I think he can play in a well above average center field and a very good second base. Well above average second base. So if there's a team out there that doesn't need a shortstop or him to play shortstop, I think he could be valuable. The interesting thing, like you said, is the last couple of games, I feel like personally, for the first time all year, he's actually hitting the ball in right field.
Yep.
Like he's actually found something that can allow him to hit line drives and base hits and things like that, the right field, right center, which I feel like has been the missing piece for him offensively all year long. So I don't know, is he getting hot? I don't know, but it is a crowded infield. Not just Reyes coming back, who I thought was good. All these guys are out of options, but in a couple of weeks, Story's going to come back. So you're not just going to lose one infielder here when Reyes is due to come back. You're going to lose two within a couple of weeks. So they got some decisions to make.
The Trevor Story thing is something I'm fascinated by, because given his contract, when he comes up, he's got to play. I fully get that. I want him to play. But more than anybody that guys don't automatically come back for their first at-bats and get hot. So the team's got a delicate balance, don't they, between the obligation of playing the guy, but also you're trying to win and get to the playoffs, and you can't really afford for him to come up and take a month and a half to kind of get his feet wet.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. I think a lot of people just expect him. Everyone's really excited, but as we often do here, and we build expectations up, and it's like we just expect Story to come in here, hit a solid 280, hit for pop, and play Gold Glove defense. And just look at Adam Duvall. Look what he looked like the first 8-9 days of the season, and then he took 2 months off, and he just hasn't found it. There's been signs of it recently, but he's probably hit 180, for a month or two. So when it comes to Story, personally, for me, like I agree with you, but the thing is, like as long as he can play defense, and he doesn't hit, I don't think you're really losing much, because that's what Chang is.
True.
So as long as he plays defense, I think you're good. But for me, I want him to come up here for the last couple of months, stay healthy, try to get back in the feel of it so he can have a healthy offseason and be ready to go in 2024. Anything on top of that for me is a bonus and a plus.
We're talking about starting pitching. I agree with you. The Sox need it. I'm also wondering, at what point do innings limits become a concern or a talking point around Brian Bayo?
Yeah, I think it's something that they want to keep an eye on. I mean, it's the usage. Last year, I think you got to you combine AAA and big league numbers as far as innings go. So I think they feel good about that. They have some off days. They can bump them. They can give them some extra time and things like that. But depending on where you are, say first week of September or going into September, I think we're a ways away from worrying about innings limit for him right now. But if you fall 6-7 games out at the beginning of September, then I think you can start having that discussion, about like, hey, maybe the last couple starts we just don't give them. And we just sort of keep it at this number and we kind of build up for next year.
News came out last week. They're looking at a contract extension for Bayo, which is something I want them to do. And I think we all want them to do it, an early contract extension. He's already got 5 years of team control left at this point. So I assume they try to go for like 7 or 8 years at this point to buy a couple of years of free agency. Do you think Bayo would be interested in something like that, given that he's already got such a long contract in front of him as it is?
Yeah, and that personally, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't. I mean, he's probably the only one that can answer that. But I think where you are early in your career is the best opportunity to do it. Because listen, we all know. I mean, with pitchers, like there could be on any pitch, he could walk off the mound and we say, see you in a year and a half, 2 years. You know what I mean? And as far as Tommy John or elbow injuries, we see it all the time. Strider, who looks like one of the best pitchers in baseball right now, did a similar thing last offseason. And the Atlanta Braves extended him to an extremely reasonable deal. Now, it's reasonable in terms of the amount of money going around, but for that player that's got 1 year in the big league that is making $575,000 this year and probably the next two, when you start looking at $75 million guaranteed banked in, or $80 million over 8 years, now it's all prorated, right? So it's like year one, year two, $1 million. You could make $1.5 million next year instead of $570,000. That's a good thing. And then it kind of jumps for the last 2 years of free agency year, maybe it's $25 million each or something like that. But that'd be a hard thing to pass down. We got 1 year in the big leagues, and that's a better time to attack him rather than having 1 year left in free agency and an agent in this year talking about how much money he could be making in just 1 year.
Lou, I want to get you out of here on kind of a macro baseball question. Yesterday, Hall of Fame inductions, Fred McGriff, Scott Rowland go in. These are guys that you played against and were contemporary to when you were playing. Just kind of your thoughts on Rowland and McGriff.
Well, I remember playing with Scott Rowland even in Double-A. He's down in Reading and then in Scranton. So I got to see him a lot in Double-A and Triple-A. So for me, he was really more of my era. I would say Fred was probably a little bit before me, just already doing damage for a long, long time in the big leagues. But Scott was a guy, he was the best third baseman I had ever seen, especially at the lower levels. It was always like Rowland at third, and it was Jeter at short, and it was like, say, Vlad out right field. Those are the guys defensively kind of stand out when I think about Double-A, Triple-A type of times. But Scott, I love the way Scott Rowland played. I mean, he was an absolute force defensively. He was a force offensively. He was a clutch guy. He came up with a big hit all the time. I love the two-way player. I think we focus too much on offense. We don't realize how much defense can help win games. And that's when he really just stood out. He was just a hard-nosed player, and I'm happy for him. I think it was well-deserved.
Lou, we're happy for you, too. You appear to be very, very happy whenever you're on Nesson. You appear to sound very happy calling Red Sox games when you're here on WDEV. We have TC on every single Wednesday. You got any good TC dirt I can bring to him in 2 days from now?
Yeah, I don't know. I see TC I make some road trips, and TC's just back home in studio sometimes. I got to get TC more on the road so I can get some more dirt on him because right now it's just kind of I spend some time maybe ripping on his golf game because he just plays too much.
He does play a lot. Lou, we appreciate it, man. We'll catch up down the road. Thank you.
Hey, anytime. You got it. Good time.
I appreciate it. Lou Merloni, certainly one of the best Red Sox Insider. We have him here on WDEV on a lot of Red Sox calls. He's been on Nesson as well. And, Lou did daily radio for over a decade, man, at WEEI. And he was really good at it. At least I thought he was. And he gave it up this year on New Year's. And he just seems happy. He said, look, I just want to do Red Sox stuff. I just want to be around baseball. I want to do Red Sox stuff. I want to coach my kid and have more time. He seems happy, and we're happy for him. And he's certainly one of my favorite guests. I have good news. Even in Danny's absence, Greg Titus has fixed the flux capacitor here and has got the video stream up and running. So you can check us back out again on our video stream over again at just go to Facebook Live or YouTube Live and just look at WDEV. So Greg, good job. Gold star for the day.
Just keep it under 88 miles an hour. That's my only request.
There you go. So we will step aside. We'll get the CBS News update here on WDEV. We'll come back. I want to recap a little bit of what Lou had to say. And the Patriots are bringing somebody big back. I'll tell you who that is. That's making a return to Foxborough this year. That's next on the Brady Farkas Show, WDEV, AM and FM.
96.1 WDEV FM Warren, 96.5 W243 AT Berry, 98.3 W252 CU Montpelier, AM 550 WDEV Waterbury.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Monica Ricks in New York. The Justice Department is suing Texas over its big buoy barriers in the Rio Grande. CBS's Linda Kenyon has the latest now from Washington.
The governor says he's stopping illegal border crossings, but White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says he's actually breaking the law, and he's making matters worse.
Instead of coming to the table and trying to figure out a way to work together, he continues to do this really cruel, unjust, inhumane ways of moving forward with a system that has been broken for decades.
She adds the governor's actions are making it difficult to access the river, patrol the area, and attempt to arrest those trying to enter the country unlawfully.
A record heat wave in the U.S. is spreading.
I don't like the heat, but it's something that you have to deal with living in Arizona.
And it's especially bad right now in Phoenix, where they are hosing down animals at the zoo to keep them cool. CBS News meteorologist David Parkinson.
Wednesday, when we start folding portions of the upper Midwest into this heat, 100 degrees, you're likely high in Minneapolis and St. Paul. By the time we get to Thursday, the Northeast really starts to cook. We're looking at 97, 98 for the nation's capital.
We're on track to see the hottest July on record. Climate activist Greta Thunberg is back to protesting at an oil facility in Sweden, despite getting fined there for disobeying police last month. The 20-year-old says the fight against the fossil fuel industry is a form of self-defense because of its global threat. Protesters are angry in Israel, where parliament is overhauling its judicial system.
Outside the parliament, thousands of demonstrators yelled "Busha," shame, as the vote was taken. Critics say the bill weakens Israeli democracy as it takes power from the Supreme Court, which is the only check on the government's power. Supporters say the Supreme Court has too much power, and they will move ahead with more laws to limit that power. Linda Gradstein for CBS News, Jerusalem.
An Alabama woman admits she lied about getting abducted.
Hoover, Alabama Police Chief Nicholas Durzis read from a letter from Carly Russell's attorney a week and a half after she was allegedly kidnapped.
There was no kidnapping on Thursday, July 13th. My client did not see a baby on the side of the road.
The letter says Russell never left the Hoover area when she was labeled a missing person. Police say the 25-year-old could face charges for lying. Matt Piper, CBS News.
Now it's solid. Trader Joe's is recalling 2 of its cookie products because they could actually contain rocks. The cookies were removed from stores, but customers are urged to check their pantries too. It's unclear how those rocks got mixed in. This is CBS News.
Find great hires fast with Indeed. Their end-to-end hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in the same place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Lamoille Valley Ford in Hardwick is open for business. Folks, the rains have dealt our state a tough blow, but we're all Vermont strong, and together we'll get through this. Our entire Lamoille Valley dealership family wants to say a huge thanks to Governor Scott for his leadership, and most of all to the first responders and to both state and town highway transportation crews for keeping us safe and getting our roads back open. As I stated, Lamoille Valley Ford is 100% open for business. While we experienced light flooding and the loss of several new vehicles, thankfully, over half of our inventory was on high ground and unaffected. And yesterday, as cleanup began, we went out and purchased 8 truckloads of new Fords from our wonderful dealer partners throughout New England who have come to our aid. For your convenience, effective immediately, Lamoille Valley Ford has reinstated our store to your door service and sales pickup and delivery. So call us today, or even better, drive routes 14, 15, or 16 to Hardwick and Lamoille Valley Ford. And remember this, at Lamoille Valley Ford, we know our Vermont family matters.
It's full season barbecuing time, and the Willie Store meat case has the steaks, the pork, chicken, and sausages to satisfy the hungry crew. Step into the hardware department for a new gas or charcoal grill. Head upstairs to Housewares for new cast iron pans and barbecue utensils. Maybe a picnic basket. At painting projects, Willie's is loaded with True Test paints and Vermont natural coatings. They'll make painting almost fun. A new swimsuit, beach towels, sandals, and flip-flops will help too. At the Willie Store for over 120 years in Greensboro, across from Caspian Lake.
Hi, folks. This is Peter Burke. Join Joel Mashman and me in the garden Saturdays at 12:30. Don't try to do it alone in your garden. Call in with questions for advice or just to share your successes in the garden.
Brought to you in part by PNR Lumber, Route 15 Wolcott, family milled lumber for all projects. See them on Facebook. Guy's Farm and Yard. If it eats and grows, Guys can feed it. GuysFarmandYard.com. And Dandelion Acres Garden Center in Bethel. DandelionAcres.com.
Make your opinion heard by texting onto the Brady Farkas Show at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. We are up until 7 o'clock today.
And then we've got Jazz with George Thomas. That comes up again from 7 o'clock until 9. And 9 in the world with John Batchelor. You can get in on the AR Auto text line, 802-585-3026. That's the AR Auto text line. Again, 802-585-3026. Thanks to Lou Merloni for joining us here just a little while ago. If you missed any of Lou, you can check it out after the show is over on the Brady Farkas Show podcast channel. That's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and WDEVradio.com. Peter wants to know where everybody's at on the text line. He says, mainly, I hope everyone's okay weather-wise. I consider the people on the text line like friends and family, and we are our own little community, aren't we, here? The people who come in on the text line every single day, we are our own little community. I, too, hope you all are well, and if you're out there, let us know. 802-585-3026. Good stuff with Lou. I got some takeaways I want to get to later in the hour, but right off the bat, I think Lou is right to kind of dispel some of my worry about Brian Bayo and innings limits, because I look at Bayo and I think, okay, he's a young pitcher, a guy who only pitched half the season last year in the big leagues. I was starting to think, okay, it's something you got to monitor. But Lou's right. When I looked at it in the commercial break, he threw about 150 innings last year between the majors and minors. He's at 90 right now. I think he can get through the rest of this season, and I think it would be reasonable to say you can add on to his load from last year. So maybe by the end of the year, get to 170. It's another 80 innings between the regular season and playoffs. I think Bayo can make it through, because I was really worried about the health of Sale and the health of Houck and the health of Whitlock and the health of Paxton, and then the innings limits on Bayo. But I think Lou was right to kind of dispel some of my worry. He also says that I've been saying for weeks that the Red Sox could do with trading Duvall. I think they absolutely can. Maybe he can help net a pitcher. My Mariners, look, this actually kind of serendipitous here. My Mariners just lost Jared Kelenic and A.J. Pollock in the same week to injury. The Mariners are 50 and 49 right now in the season. I don't know that the Red Sox want to go trade with a team that's directly chasing them, but the Mariners absolutely could use a left fielder. Maybe Duvall could come in and play left field for them, and the Mariners could give up some pitching that maybe could help the Red Sox. We'll see how that goes. Again, I don't know that you want to trade with someone right behind you, but the fit is there. He says you don't have to trade TK, but you also don't have to keep him. I do think TK remains a valuable trade chip, but if Arroyo is going to be injured and not hitting, then there's a chance you might want to keep TK around. Red Sox will take on the Braves in the series beginning tomorrow at Fenway. It's a 2-game series. We'll have that for you on DEV. I do want to get to this, a Patriots reunion this year, but it's not with a player. It's not with a player. The Patriots are bringing back Pat Patriot for 2 games this season. Yet again, the Patriots are wearing the Pat Patriot white helmet, red jerseys of the 80s and the early 90s, the Doug Flutie, Steve Grogan era uniforms. 2 games this year for Pat Patriot. They're going to wear them in the second home game of the season. That's week 2, Sunday Night Football against the Dolphins. That'll be awesome. Sunday Night Football here at Gillette Stadium. Patriots, Dolphins, Pat Patriot back. And then December 3rd at home against the Chargers. So you get 1 game early in the year, 1 game late in the year. So, Pat Patriot back again for the 2nd straight year. Remember, for a bunch of time, we couldn't see Pat Patriot. We couldn't see these great throwback uniforms because of what the NFL had was called the one shell rule. And what this meant was that you can only wear 1 helmet a season. Right? Every player can only wear 1 helmet a season. So the Patriots' helmets are silver. There would not have been enough time to take those helmets out of circulation, paint them white, and then ultimately get them back to silver without the player not having access to his helmet. So all of these uniforms that require different colored helmets could not be worn. So that's why we haven't seen the creamsicle jerseys in Tampa. That's why we haven't seen much of the Kelly Green Eagle jerseys from the Randall Cunningham days, Reggie White. That's why we haven't seen the royal blue with the silver helmet Seahawks. We are seeing all of those jerseys come back into the fold starting last year and more so this year. We are going to see, he was called Bucko Bruce. That was the name of the guy on the Buccaneers creamsicle jersey. So we got the creamsicles back this year. Pat Patriot back. The Kelly Green jerseys back for the Eagles. The Seahawks just announced last week, October 28th, I think, it's week 8 against Cleveland. They're going to wear the royal blue jerseys with the silver helmets. Man, I love throwback jersey season in the NFL. I love Pat Patriot. I can't wait to see these uniforms on Sunday Night Football in week 2. The throwback jerseys are great. A lot of the throwbacks are better than what these teams have now. Now, I actually really like the Patriots all blue uniforms now. They've got the all blue color rush uniforms, the blue jerseys with the blue pants. I actually really like those. But the Pat Patriot Reds are incredible. 802-585-3026. And I think some of you know where I'm going next. And Greg Titus is in for Danny, and bless his heart, because Danny knows me well. He knows where I'm going next. Greg doesn't know.
No clue.
You're going to hear me sound old manish yet again here on this. A lot of you have heard this rant before, and every time it comes up, I do it every time. I don't care if I have to do it once a year or 6 times a year. I'm doing it every time that this story comes up. Did you see what happened last night in the NFL on the Jersey circuit? Did you see this one? Last night about 6 o'clock at night on social media, on Twitter, if we can even call it Twitter anymore, or do I have to call it
Xy or something like that? Yeah,
I got to call it that. I refuse to do that. It's always going to be Twitter to me. You never forget your first. It's always going to be Twitter to me. So, I mean, the Tennessee Titans last night revealed that they are going to wear the Houston Oilers jerseys this year. Hey, Greg, you see this?
No, but I'm calling it up right now. I wasn't aware of that. All right.
So they announced this yesterday. The old Oilers jerseys, the Earl Campbell jerseys, the Warren Moon jerseys, the Carolina blue shirts with the Billy White Shoes Johnson Oilers with the white pants.
Dan Pastorini? I mean, come on.
They've got the white helmets with the little Oiler on top. Okay, those are great uniforms. I enjoy them. But again, for those of you who know me, you know exactly where I'm going with this. To me, it is appalling, sacrilegious, and should be completely banned for the Tennessee Titans to wear the Houston Oilers jerseys. Yes, they're good jerseys. Yes, they're cool. And yes, I'm happy that they're there. And yes, the Tennessee Titans were actually the Tennessee Oilers for one season. But you know what? I could not care less, as far as I am concerned. The state of Tennessee, as is the case in all of these things, stole the Houston Oilers from Houston, and they should not get to parade around in the Houston Oilers jerseys and profit from it. It is a money grab. It is to sell more jerseys. It is to make revenue. It is absolutely ridiculous. Yes, the general NFL fan is celebrating this, but if I am from Houston today, this is not nostalgic. This doesn't bring back good memories. This brings back the memories of my team being stolen and of my heart being broken. And this is the same song that I sing every single time that this happens. As far as I'm concerned, the Houston Oilers jerseys should not be with the Tennessee Titans. They should stay with the city of Houston. And if anybody is going to wear Houston Oilers jerseys, it should be the Houston Texans, so that the fans in Houston can celebrate their old heritage rather. What? You don't like this?
No. I'm saying if the Texans wore that, then Texans fans would have something to be happy about because they have to watch their team in the field.
Yes, that would be good. So the fans of Houston that way could celebrate their old jerseys and their heritage rather than having to vomit at seeing the team from Nashville that stole their team away. Every time this happens, it's the same song and dance for me, and it's always garbage. I don't want to see the Washington Nationals and Expos jerseys. I don't want to see the Colorado Avalanche and Quebec Nordiques jerseys. I don't want to see the Oklahoma City Thunder wearing Sonics jerseys. I don't want to see the Baltimore Ravens and old Cleveland Browns jerseys. Doesn't matter to me. I don't care. You've already got the team history, which you shouldn't have. You shouldn't get the jerseys. It's ridiculous. And every time that someone does this, it's a money grab and it's gutting to the fan base that lost their team. Hartford Whalers fans, I promise you, are not happy to see Carolina Hurricanes players parading around in the green uniforms. It's disgusting. It makes me sick. I get physically ill for these cities when I see it. And yeah, I get angry about it. And I'm not trying to be old manish. It's personal to me. I grew up a Seattle Sonics fan. I cried at 17 years old when the Sonics got taken to Oklahoma City. I don't want to see the Oklahoma City Thunder parading around in Sonics jerseys. I saw my dad at 30-something be gutted that his Cleveland Browns left for Baltimore in the middle of the night. This is not fun. This is not nostalgia. This is a money grab for these teams to get in on the throwback jersey fun so that the Tennessee Titans can go and sell a couple extra jerseys overpriced at $129.99. It's ridiculous to me. Okay, you're not honoring anything. You're looking for money. And I get mad every time that this happens. So as far as I'm concerned, the Houston Oilers jersey should be worn by a team in Houston. And if we're really talking just jerseys and just fashion, I'll remind you that the Houston Oilers jerseys with the blue helmet were much better than the Houston Oilers jerseys with the white helmet. And the Carolina blue helmet of the Oilers is one of the best helmets in sports, not the white helmet. So the jerseys are fine, but the helmet is definitely better in Tar Heel blue. Welcome to my TED Talk, Greg. Okay. Your thoughts on this?
I was hoping you would get to the Whalers and the Hurricanes because my oldest son is a gigantic hockey fan. All you need to do to get him to start frothing at the mouth is to mention anytime the Hurricanes do something related to the whale. And I agree with you. And I particularly I used to be a Baltimore Colts fan, but then again, you move up the moving vans at midnight and take the team off. I don't want to hear anything about the Cleveland Browns, the new ones. So I agree with you 100%.
Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I hate this. And you know what? It's interesting too because these teams, you know how you know it's a money grab is because these teams never honor the city that they have screwed over. Until it's time to bring out the jerseys and make money from. I'll never forget this. Aaron Miller, who lives in Burlington, UVM Hockey Product, is a friend of the show. We've had him on multiple times. He played. He came up for the Colorado Avalanche. He actually came up with the Quebec Nordiques. He made his NHL debut with Quebec, played a handful of games, and then the next year the team moved to Colorado. He told me that he told this show that we never did anything to honor Quebec. When we won the cup, we didn't take the cup to Quebec City for a parade. We didn't wear the jerseys. In fact, Greg, here you go. This one is going to make your son really froth at the mouth. The Colorado Avalanche unretired the numbers of Quebec Nordiques players to give them to Avalanche players. So they stomped on the history of the Quebec Nordiques. They stomped on the fans of the Quebec Nordiques. They could have taken the cup to Quebec City for a tour, and at least it would have shown some good faith. They didn't do any of it. You know what happened? 25 years later, hey, let's bring back the Nordiques jersey for the 25th anniversary of the Avalanche. You can miss me with that because this is money grab central, and that's what the Tennessee Titans are doing now. Everybody else is bringing back throwbacks and can make some bucks out of it. We'll do the same thing. You know what? Leave them for the city of Houston. That's my thought on that. And anybody in Houston, as I've seen on social media today, a lot of people in Houston do agree with me. They don't want to see this. They don't want to see this. It is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Now that I am sufficiently angry, let's move over to actual football-related conversation. I cannot believe that we are in training camp. I feel like summer just started. I feel like it was winter not that long ago. Maybe that's because we had 19 winters in Vermont again this year. But winter wasn't that long ago, and here we are. We're already trending towards fall. Teams are already at training camp. We've already got, unfortunately, devastating injury reports out of training camp. Lions safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson probably going to be out for the season, non-contact knee injury. That's a Lions team that's one of the most exciting teams in the NFL this year. A real up-and-comer who won, 7 of their last 8 at the end of the year last year. Out one of their big off-season acquisitions probably for the year. Did you see what happened to Nyheim Hines of the Buffalo Bills today? Right before camp, he was sitting stationary on a jet ski, got run into by another jet ski, as I understand it, suffered a season-ending knee injury and will require surgery. So we've got football-related injuries, we've got non-football-related injuries, but here we are, it's football season, and we're already talking about season-ending injuries. This is what I hate. I love when football comes around, but I hate this part of football. Training camp injuries and things related to it. Patriots open up camp tomorrow. That's when the players report. Wednesday is the first day of practice. And let's just call it like it is. The big storyline of Patriots training camp is going to be the following. One, does Bill Belichick still have it? Two, what has Mac Jones got? And three, their relationship with each other. It's that simple. Okay. The relationship between Bill and Mac, you are going to hear a ton about over the course of the next month and a half until we get to the start of the regular season. Okay. So we get to the start of the regular season. So Albert Breer, the Monday morning quarterback, was on NBC Sports Boston late last week, and he talked about kind of the relationship with Bill and Mac and where they're at right now in relation to each other and how they feel about each other.
I think they're treading water. Like, I think because this offseason, again, and I've said this before, like Bill sort of subcontracted the offense out to Bill O'Brien, and Bill O'Brien's sort of in the position that Josh McDaniels was for all of those years as the offensive coordinator. They've, I mean, largely, I think, been okay this offseason, because Billy's handling a lot of it. What happens when the waters get a little choppy? That's the question.
So people are going to make a big deal about that from Breer, right? Because Breer's going to say that again the more he pops over places, and more outlets are going to pick up on it. And people are going to portray it as that Bill Belichick and Mac Jones don't really talk, and Bill O'Brien is just the intermediary. Let me be crystal clear about this. I have zero problem with this setup. And I'm usually the first to come on and rip the Patriots about something. And I'm the first to call out how the Patriots are doing things. And I'm not a Bill Belichick apologist. This one, though, I have absolutely no problem with. If this is the setup the Patriots have, where Bill O'Brien does most of the talking to Mac Jones and Bill Belichick largely stays away, that's perfectly fine with me. I'll talk about what I want their relationship to be in a second, but this setup that Breer just outlined absolutely does not bother me. Because last year, Mac Jones had too many voices in his head. Now he gets one voice. I'm in favor of that. Okay, this kid needs things simplified. I am no Mac Jones apologist either. You know how I feel about Mac Jones, that he's not special. But I want the Patriots to be good. And if in order for them to be good, Mac Jones needs every chance possible to have success. Okay, a clearer focus with less voices is a way for him to possibly have success. Okay, I'm all for it. I don't care if Bill Belichick ever stands next to Mac Jones in practice. I don't care if they're going over the clipboard together in practice. I would prefer that Bill Belichick didn't get Mac Jones' way. I want Bill O'Brien to be the voice in his ear and be the one voice in his ear. Okay, the Patriots aren't giving Mac Jones enough talent around them, right? They didn't go get DeAndre Hopkins like they should have. Last I checked, they haven't signed Dalvin Cook yet. So if you're not going to give the kid a chance, the fullest chance on the field, at least give him a fighting chance in his coaching situation. You hired Bill O'Brien, let him do the job, and keep Bill Belichick out of the way. Okay. Last year, Bill's in his ear, and Joe Judge is in his ear, and Patricia's in his ear, and he's probably still got a little bit of Josh McDaniels' teachings in his ear, and then he's calling over Alabama. He's trying to get their opinion on things. Mac Jones last year had 5-6 voices in his ear. This year, give me one. I want that. That's what this kid needs. I am tired of having this kid's mind worked with. And that's what's been happening to him. And also, by the way, not Patriot specific, just on the macro level, I don't have a problem in general with coaching being done this way. Okay. Everybody is going to make a big deal about them not being best friends together and how much they talk. I'm not, because you know what? This is how coaching used to be in the NFL, right? Like Greg, you'll probably remember this more, but like when we were growing up watching football, this is largely the way that it was. I'm not saying that your head coach never talked to your quarterback, but back in the day, your head coach was more of a manager. Now everybody wants him to be best buddies like Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are. But you know what? Head coaching has changed now in that head coaches now are largely calling plays for one side of the ball. So we talk about Mahomes and Andy Reid's relationship. Well, Andy Reid's calling the plays. Zach Taylor's calling the plays for Joe Burrow, and Matt Stafford's getting the play call in from Sean McVay. They have to be cuddly together. Bill Belichick doesn't have to be that way. I will never forget one of the best interviews I ever did was with Tony Dungy. It was a few years ago, and Dungy was talking about Ben McAdoo, who was the then coach of the Giants. And Ben McAdoo was the offensive coordinator for the Giants in addition to being the head coach. And he said, one of the hardest things to do is to be a head coach who's also calling plays. Because when you are a head coach who calls plays, you neglect one side of the ball, you miss things, you mess up on timeouts, you mess up on challenges because your focus is on that side of the ball. I do not mind Bill Belichick being truly a manager here. We've got an offensive coordinator. Okay, you've got a guy in Steve Belichick and Gerard Mayo who you're empowering to run the defense. You've got coordinators. You've got senior staff. Allow them to do their job, and you sit back and come in when you have to, but empower the people that you hire to do the job. Everybody's going to be all mad. Oh, Bill and Mac don't talk that much. Well, you know what? This is how it used to be. Look at a baseball manager, right? Like, we got a hitting coach and we got a pitching coach, and that's who I'm reporting to. And my manager is there to oversee things. Yes, I talk to my manager. Yes, I can go to him. But my manager is not the one giving me every single piece of info all day long. My pitching coach is there. My catcher is there. Let people in power do their job. So as far as Mac Jones goes, I am all for and totally okay with Bill Belichick being hands-off with him. Let Bill O'Brien do his job. You hired him, empower him, and get the hell out of the way as far as I'm concerned, Greg. This is what I think about it.
Well, I'm so old, I can think back to Tom Landry with the houndstooth hat on the sidelines for the Cowboys. He did not have his arm around Roger Staubach on the sidelines. He was the CEO, and that used to be the model. Is that the coach was in charge. He hired assistant coaches to work with the teams. And this mental image, Vince Lombardi standing up in a tower at the Green Bay training camp. It's not it was a completely different game then. And I think the most successful teams in the NFL are the teams with the head coaches that hire people who know what they're doing and let them do their job.
There's not many of them left because it's interesting. And I can understand this, Greg, right? I think you can understand it too from a professional standpoint. You cut your teeth doing one thing, right? Everybody comes up doing one thing. And then they get hired to a better job because they were really good at that one thing. And then they have a hard time letting go of that one thing. They're like, this is what got me the job. This is what I'm good at. This is what I'm known as. So this is what I better continue doing when I get my promotion. It's very hard to step back from that world, right? You got your job because you were a great offensive coordinator, because you were a great defensive coordinator, because you were great with quarterbacks. And then when you get to the head coaching job, you don't get a 10-year cycle to be a head coach. You get 3. So you're like, look, if I only got 3 years at this thing, I am not delegating stuff. I am going to step up here and do it all myself. So I get why young guys and first-time head coaches don't do this. But I do think teams are better off when you have a Pete Carroll who is, look, Pete's involved in defense, but he's always had a defensive coordinator. He's got an offensive coordinator now in Shane Waldron in Seattle. Hey, the veteran guys can do this, where they can feel comfortable enough in their own skin to delegate responsibility. And I hope that Bill does a good job at letting the other Bill have his responsibility. But I don't need him and Mac Jones to be cuddling up with each other on the sideline. Here is what I need from Bill Belichick. Okay. As far as Mac Jones goes, here is the relationship that I need from the two. Bill Belichick needs to be a good manager. Okay? It's that simple. Think about your job. I think about my job. We all know what a good manager looks like. We all know what a bad manager looks like. Bill Belichick needs to be a good manager. He needs to credit Mac Jones where credit is due. He needs to teach Mac where teaching needs to be taught. And he needs to provide Mac Jones with structure and support. Again, think about it like your job. It's probably a lot like mine. Here's the structure at WDEV. I work at the station. Lee is the program director of the station. He is my direct boss. Corm is above him. I deal with Lee on a daily basis. Lee is like I'm the quarterback. Lee is like my offensive coordinator. I run ideas by him. He runs ideas by me. He tells me to do things. I do it. I counter him on some things and say, hey, what about this? We talk, we banter, we discuss. A lot of what we talk about, like we throw things against the wall. A lot of what we talk about never even needs to involve Corm. Corm doesn't even need to know a lot of what Lee and I are talking about. hey, Lee and I can handle a lot of things. But you know what I need from Corm? What I need from Corm is what Bill Belichick needs from Mac Jones. I need from Corm exactly what I get, and that's what Mac needs. I need Corm to come down and tell me, hey, pat me on the back when I do something well. I want to know that you're listening to the show. I want to know that you appreciate when the show is good. Hey, great show today. Hey, great guest today. Hey, Lou Merloni was on the show today, man. He was awesome. I love when you get Lou on. That's what I need. Okay, I want to know that I'm appreciated, and when I'm doing a good job, I want to be told that. I want to know, like I'm insecure like that. Okay, but I think Mac has been made to be insecure by Bill, so you know what? He's going to need it too. Okay, he needs a pat on the backside. When things are going well, he needs to be told that. Okay, I need to know that I'm appreciated. Mac will need to know that he's appreciated. Recognize my hard work, and then conversely, Corn's got a lot of experience that I don't have. He's been doing this business for 35 years longer than me. He's seen things that I haven't seen. He's encountered things I haven't encountered. Teach me when there's something to be taught. And that's what Bill Belichick needs to give Mac Jones too. Bring him into the office. Okay, go over a film study. Talk about a defense. Tell a story about the 86 Giants or the 93 Bills or the 2001 Colts where this happened and this was the counter. Bring out the old film. Okay, that's okay. That's what Mac Jones wants. He wants to be coached. Bill Belichick needs to do the coaching. You know what Bill Belichick doesn't need? Or you know what Mac Jones doesn't need? I don't want to hear this year what I heard last year. I don't want to hear about Bill Belichick testing Mac Jones. I don't want to hear Bill Belichick throw Mac under the bus in the media. I don't want to hear Mac have his toughness questioned by Bill. And why isn't Mac playing hurt? That's not what the kid's going to need. Okay, the kid has been made to feel insecure. Some people are insecure by nature, and some people are made to feel insecure. And I think Mac Jones has been made to feel insecure. He can take tough coaching, right? He played for Saban, he played for McDaniels, and excelled under both of them. And he took the Patriots under Belichick to the playoffs in his first year. I think Mac can handle real tough coaching. What I don't think Mac can handle is being yo-yoed around like he was all of last season, where Bill has thrown him under the bus, because that was garbage. As much as I don't think Mac has special physical attributes, he doesn't deserve that mentally. And Bill, I felt, was constantly treating Mac Jones like a science experiment. I'm over that for this year. So let Bill O'Brien handle the daily grind. Let Bill O'Brien handle the daily questions. A lot of stuff that doesn't need to go to Bill. But when teaching needs to be taught, do it. And when appreciation needs to be given, do it. I know the NFL is a business. I know it's not always warm and cuddly, and it's not exactly like my business. But if you want to get the best out of any employee, no matter what you're doing, treat them like they deserve to be treated and like they're valued, instead of how Mac was treated last year, like he was a disposable part. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Texter says, I love Pat Patriot uniforms. They are classic. Makes me think of John Hanna, Andre Tippett, et al. And my guy, Doug Flutie. All right. I'll tell you about when we come back. I need to get Greg Titus in on a couple of different things. I'll tell you about my day today a little earlier. I never thought that I would pay premium for this, but as I get older, I'm deciding it's time to pay premium for this. And I need a little old school versus new school on vernacular. And that's where Greg's going to come in. We'll do it next on the Brady Farkas Show here on WDEV, AM and FM, WDEVradio.com, and always streaming on the free WDEV radio app.
Waterbury invites you to think local, buy local, and be local by experiencing our many recreational opportunities with something for everyone in your group. You can hike, bike, walk, run, paddle, skate, and stroll, and even swim in Waterbury. Between the Perry Hill Bike Trails, Little River State Park, and Waterbury Reservoir, there's year-round fun for all levels. Get outside and start your next active adventure. Our small businesses and colorful mix of restaurants have everything you need to create an unforgettable experience. Even your dog will have a great time. Black Cap Coffee and Bakery of Vermont is now open in the historic Waterbury train station. Black Cap is the new place for lunch and for gatherings in Waterbury. Open daily with made in-house pastries and sandwiches for breakfast and lunch. Stop by on your way to or from any hike or bike ride or for a central meeting location. Black Cap Coffee and Bakery is a great place to eat, meet, and work now in the Waterbury train station and in Burlington, Stowe, and Morrisville. Visit blackcapvermont.com for more information.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
The Guaranteed Savings Event is on at Lamoille Valley Chevy. Tell them, bro. Hi, folks. There's not a lot these days that's guaranteed, but one thing you can always count on is getting an awesome deal at Lamoille Valley Chevy. During our Guaranteed Savings Event in July, we are ready to discount our entire inventory of new and pre-owned vehicles with one goal in mind, and that's to earn your business. Right now, our inventory of new Chevys and pre-owned vehicles is back up to pre-pandemic levels with the largest selection of new Chevys available in Vermont. The bottom line is at Lamoille Valley Chevy, you don't have to settle for an ugly car, truck, or SUV. We have a massive inventory of vehicles in nearly every package and color available, and we're doing whatever it takes to make deals. Speaking of deals, listen to this. During July, you will get a guaranteed upfront discount of $3,000 off any new or pre-owned Silverado 1500 in stock. That's huge. So drive just past Stowe and Mooresville to the beautiful town of Hyde Park, Vermont, and get yourself a great deal during the Guaranteed Savings Event happening now.
Do you like my background? It looks like I'm in a real studio.
Local businesses advertise with WDEV because they get results.
I've been advertising on WDEV for a number of years now. It's been a really great spot for me to get my name out.
We're an excellent partner for our advertising dollars.
We jumped at the opportunity and we're so pleased we did. We've experienced incredible results.
Interested in advertising on WDEV? Contact us at WDEV@radiovermont.com.
Want Brady to hear your opinion on the sports stories of the day? Text in at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back to
the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM and FM, WDEVradio.com. We're up until 7 o'clock in Jazz with George Thomas. Jazz with George Thomas just walked into the studio in the commercial break, so we said hi there to George. Greg Titus is on the ones and twos. Danny's out this week. He is working over at Camp Tecumseh, so certainly doing some great work there, and we appreciate his contributions to society in addition to our shows. Greg, I think one of the bots that Elon is trying to get rid of on social media, I think, has come to hang out with our show. Somebody texted in and said, on the video stream, hey, handsome. I can promise you that's never happened once in the history of this show.
Folks, there's a reason we're in radio, okay? And handsome isn't usually associated with that.
I think that one of the bots that Elon is trying to get rid of happens to have infiltrated whatever defense mechanisms he's put in place here in social media land. So, hey, handsome, I don't think is something that we're used to hearing here on WBD, especially on the sports show, that's for sure.
I want to give just a follow-up quickly on the shout out to Danny. I was involved with Camp Tecumseh back when they began as the publicity director. Ted Kessler started it. It is a fantastic cause, and I'm not at all surprised that Danny is involved with it. It's a great way for kids with cancer to be able to spend some time recreating and being with people in the same situation as them. So, Danny, good work.
Yeah, Danny has been involved with that for a number of years, so we knew it was coming. We knew that last week he was going to kind of get us off the ground into this new setup, right, where Danny's in the main studio, I'm in the alternate studio in the building, and we knew this was coming. So Danny get us off the ground last week. He's going to be gone this week. Greg and Form are going to pinch hit, and Danny will be back next week, and we'll have him, forever at that point, but certainly it was worth it to have him be somewhere else this week. Greg, if you can tell on the video stream here, as everybody else can, I got a haircut today, and I'm not going to say where I was because I don't want to give away their prices or anything, but I spent nearly $40 on a haircut.
Oh, man.
Between the haircut itself and then the tip. It wasn't the base of the haircut. But it was just the haircut. It wasn't like haircut and beard. It wasn't like, I didn't get it washed. It wasn't shampoo. It was the haircut was $30 and the tip I left was $6. Right? So 20%.
Right.
$36 on a haircut. I got to tell you. I think that's expensive, but as I get older, I'm willing to pay for a good haircut from a barber that I like, in a setting that I like, that I know is going to be a good job. And I'm like most people, right? I like to find value where I can. Like, I would have no problem skirting costs on certain things. But you can't. A good barber is like a good mechanic. You gotta have a good one.
I was going to say,
have a good one.
Mechanic is the perfect example. We've been going to the same mechanic in Waterbury, Ted's Car Care, for forever. And again, it's because I don't, the dealer's always saying you could do this and this and this. I don't care because I know I can call them up and I can get stuff taken care of. And they're honest. They've actually come to me and said, we don't need to do what you just asked us to do. So yeah, that to me.
Are you a Seinfeld fan?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So it's like in one of the episodes, Jerry goes, he took his mechanic. So remember, he took his mechanic not to putty. Like he took his car not to putty.
Oh yeah,
Putty was hooking up with Elaine, and Jerry didn't like that.
Yeah, it was weird.
So he took his car somewhere else, and he goes, I think they're trying to screw me. And George goes, of course they're trying to screw you. He goes, they can say anything. Nobody knows. All you need to do Johnson rod. Oh, Johnson rod. Put one of those on. That's not what's happening at Ted's Car Care. So like a good mechanic, I'm willing to pay for a quality barber at this point in my life. Like I don't need the $14 with the elementary school scissors special anymore.
You don't want the bowl? You don't want the bowl special where they cut it like that?
No, I usually just wear a hat anyway, so often my haircut doesn't really matter. But today, for the first 4 days or so, I'm going to let this go without a hat, and I like to show it off. The other thing, I think this makes me weird. I don't know your thoughts on this, but I think this makes me weird. I will not have a full beard if I've just gotten a haircut. Like I need everything to start from a base of 0.
Ah, all right. So you're saying that if the beard is growing in, you want it to grow in at the same rate as the hair is growing at the same time.
Yes. So if I also don't like I don't like sideburns. So if you're gonna if you have the full beard, you evidently have sideburns. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get the sideburns taken up, and then the beard is like halfway down the face, and it's not connected.
I've seen that. It's weird. It's very weird.
That's odd. I don't need that. So I've got short hair. I've got very limited facial hair right now. They'll all grow in at the same rate, and then when I have long hair again, I'll have the full beard. That's kind of how this goes for me. I don't get people who can go like Julian Edelman. Speaking of the Patriots, Julian Edelman always had was short up top, Grizzly Adams down below. I'm like, how can you live like this? Like what kind of anarchy are you living? What kind of anarchist world are you living in where you can go short hair up top and then full beard? I'm like, no. I need everything even. I need everything to be even. We're starting from 0. We're growing together in a nice, what's that word? In symmetrical way.
Exactly. Harmony. You want harmony between all the hair on your head.
Also, here's a summertime question for people. 802-585-3026. I actually have 2 summertime questions, and it has to do with vernacular. And I don't think it's an old person, young person thing. I don't know that it's a regional thing, but I just need to know, Greg, kind of how. Okay. Would you call it a lightning bug or a firefly?
I call it a firefly. Okay, but I don't know. But I don't know if that's a very good question. So I don't know whether that's a question of a generational thing, or is it sort of like you get a sub in some places, you get a hero in other places. Or
I don't know because look, last time I was with my dad, we were walking and we saw a bug that lights up, and he said, "Oh, lightning bugs! I used to see them all the time when I was growing up." Well, you're of my dad's generation. You're calling it a firefly in the same way that I would. So it's not a generational thing. So I don't know. Do you call it a firefly or do you call it a lightning bug? I don't have strong opinions on that one, Greg. I do have strong opinions on this one. Are you a mow the lawn or cut the grass guy?
You mow the lawn.
Yes, you mow the lawn.
But
there are a lot of people who say cut the grass.
No. And again, I don't know why. Just a quick thing I did, and it's on the internet, so it must be true. So a firefly is more common in the West and New England, while people in the South and most of the Midwest, and that's your dad, right? Cleveland?
My dad's from Ohio.
Yeah. From Ohio. So they tend to say lightning bug. So a lot of this stuff is regional. You're just unaware of it.
Well, the mow the lawn, cut the grass people. I do hear people say cut the grass. I prefer mow the lawn as well. But I do hear people say cut the grass, and I've never understood it. It's like people, like I would say, it's one of these remote versus clicker versus the real weirdos who say the channel changer.
No, channel changer. I'm sorry.
You've heard that one, though.
No. Channel changer? No, it's remote.
Yes.
It's remote.
Yes, it's a remote.
It's a remote. That's what I say. But
Greg and I are on the same page about this. But there are cut the grass people, and I don't know. Got to look a little quizzically at them. 802-585-3026. Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury, or not. Excuse me. The Air Auto text line. 802-585-3026. Jazz with George Thomas comes up here in about 15 minutes. So he'll be on from 7 o'clock until 9 o'clock, and then we will have Eye on the World with John Batchelor. I got a lot of things I want to get to. Let's take a break now. We'll wrap up the show. We'll come back and tell you, we're not in the business as fans of feeling bad for professional athletes. We're not, right? We don't have a lot of sympathy for pro athletes. There is one group of pro athletes you should absolutely be empathetic for. I'll tell you who that is next on the Brady Farkas Show on DEV.
Are you looking to get rid of your used mobile home? Here at Fecto Homes, we don't just sell new mobile homes, we also buy used. If you have a used mobile home that you are looking to sell, we can either accept it as trade and apply the value to a new home with us or purchase it outright. We offer fair prices and quick removal of your mobile home. So reach out to us for a quote today. Fecto Homes, 350 River Street, Montpelier, or visit us at fectohomes.com for more information.
Hi, I'm Bob Lake, CEO of Green Mountain Credit Union. We're proudly member-owned, which means what you deposit, we invest in your neighbors, friends, family, and small businesses that are essential to our community. And all interest and deposits made go right back to our members, continuing our philosophy of people helping people. Green Mountain Credit Union's old school lending with 21st century technology. I invite you to stop by one of our locations in South Burlington, Rutland, or Berlin, or find us at greenmountaincu.com.
No.
Hi, we're Comparion Insurance Agency. Right now you're thinking, Comparion, never heard of them. We know. Yes. We also know that you have no idea that Comparion Insurance agents are local and provide expert advice. So to help it stick, we're going to say local agent 4 times in the next 15 seconds. Ready? Go. Our local agents know you and your community. Our local agents offer insurance from top carriers. Our local agents have minty fresh breath.
Find us at ComparionInsurance.com. Comparion Insurance Agency. Local agents. Expert advice.
And there's number 4.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
Hi, I'm Dr. Shelley Flace with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. Kids are full of energy, but keeping them active in their teen years can be a challenge. Aim for an hour of physical activity every day. If they like sports, that's a great place to start. Keep the focus on fun, not winning, and encourage your child to do a variety of activities. If your child isn't meeting that 60-minute goal, gradually increase their activity in ways they enjoy. For more, talk with your pediatrician or visit healthychildren.org.
This is David Goodman. Join me every Wednesday at 1 o'clock for the Vermont Conversation, brought to you by VTDigger.org, Vermont's nonprofit news source. I'll talk with national and local change makers from the worlds of politics, social and racial justice, science, education, and the environment for having an impact on our daily lives. You can also hear the Vermont Conversation at VTDigger.org or sign up for our podcasts. Join me and take part in the Vermont Conversation, Wednesdays at 1, here on WDEV.
The Brady Farkas Show now has an interactive text line, so reach out now at 802-585-3026.
This is Freddie Coleman of ESPN, and you're listening to Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV and WDEVradio.com.
Thank you very much, Freddie. Freddie Coleman of ESPN Radio there with us every single week. He'll be with us again on Wednesday here on DEV. We're up until 9 o'clock, or we're up until 7 o'clock, excuse me. Just a couple of minutes left here in the show. And this is Jazz with George Thomas, and I have the world with John Batchelor. Lou Merloni joined us earlier, Red Sox broadcaster, former Sox infielder. You can find that interview as soon as the show is over on our podcast channel at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and at WDEVradio.com. We're not in the business of feeling bad for pro athletes. Hey, they make millions to play a game. I wish I could make millions to just play a game. What do they even do? They have great lives. We're not in the business of feeling bad for them. You know who you should feel bad for, though, in pro sports today? Is the NFL running back. The NFL running back, you should absolutely have empathy for. You've seen and heard by now what happened to Saquon Barkley, what happened to Josh Jacobs. These guys were given franchise tags from the Raiders and Giants, respectively, and couldn't come to long-term deals. And as a result, they're either going to play on the franchise tag, a one-year deal, or they're not going to play at all this season. They're going to get nothing, and they're going to sit out. It is insane what has happened to running backs. When I was growing up, this isn't that long ago, right? This is the 90s and into the early 2000s. When I was growing up, running back was the position. It's the position you wanted to play because it's the position that got the ball, and it's the position where all the stars were. Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, Thurman Thomas, Terrell Davis, Jerome Bettis, Eddie George. I could go on. Jamal Lewis with running backs of the late 90s and the early 2000s. Okay, running back was the spot. The best athletes played it, and running backs controlled and changed the game. Running back was the best. Now, running back has been turned on its head. You're not allowed to draft a running back in the first round, practically. You're not allowed to pay a running back a long-term contract. Running backs who are great, like Barkley, like Jacobs, they can't get long-term deals. It is terrible. Mediocre quarterbacks like Geno Smith can make $30 million a year. But great running backs cannot get a second contract. If you're feeling empathetic today for someone in sports, feel for your NFL running back. And there's really nothing that can be done right now. Okay, I've heard people say, "Oh, running backs, should be subject to lesser. They should only have 3-year rookie contracts so they can hit the market faster." Doesn't matter what idea you have. It doesn't. CBA extends for the next 7 years. Running backs are screwed for the next 7 years when it comes to pay structure, contract years, all of it. It's not going away. Running backs are stuck. And here is the thing that sucks the most for them. Okay? In your job and my job, you do really well. You get promoted, and you get paid well. In the NFL, if you're a running back, they run you into the ground, 200 carries a year. You perform well. You lead the team to the playoffs. You get 1,500 yards rushing. You become marketable for the franchise. And then when it comes time to get paid, they tell you you're run into the ground. Well, yeah, you ran me into the ground. You're the one who did this to me, and now you're telling me that I'm all used up? That's the state of the NFL running back, and that's what I feel bad for. Okay, Saquon Barkley is the Giants' offense. Okay, is the Giants' offense. They're the ones who want him to carry the ball 200 times a year. They're the ones who want to throw him 65 swing passes and let him get hit. They're the ones who want to put him with Daniel Jones in the shotgun back there to be a pass blocker. So they're the ones who put Saquon at this risk, and they're the ones who get the production from him, extract every last piece of value, and then won't pay the guy. I do get it, right? Like I do get it. But I feel bad for these players that grow up as running backs, that put their body through hell for 3 and 4 years of college, and then put their body through hell for 4 and 5 years of a rookie contract. And then when they're on the verge of their payday at 27 years old, get told they're too old and they're too beaten down. Well, yeah, you did this to me. Yes, I feel empathetic for NFL running backs. Why has this happened? Well, it's become a pass-first league, so the running back hasn't been as necessary as it was in the 90s, right? You can't hit the quarterback, you can't cover the wide receivers, everything's illegal contact and pass interference. So it's a pass-first league, so the running back isn't as necessary. I think people also have realized that the running back is, or the running game is also a part and parcel with your offensive line, that if you have a good offensive line, you can run the football. You don't necessarily need a special back. And a lot of teams have started to employ the two running back system, so they think, well, if one gets hurt, hey, at least we got the other. But this is unfortunate. Okay, I'm looking at middle relievers who can make $6 million a year in Major League Baseball. I'm looking at bench guys who only shoot corner threes like PJ Tucker, who can make $5 million a year. And I'm looking at NFL running backs like Saquon Barkley, who is their team's offense, who cannot get a long-term contract. Saquon Barkley was taken second overall in the draft. Second overall in the draft, and cannot get a multi-year contract. I'm not even talking about a 5-year deal. He can't get a 2-year deal for the New York Giants, apparently, because nobody wants to pay the running back. So if you're feeling empathetic for somebody in sports today, feel empathetic for the NFL running back, who used to be the cream of the crop, and now is just almost completely obsolete, completely discardable, completely replaceable. Texter says, will kids want to play running back anymore? They will, because most high schools at this point are still, I would say, run first places. So if you want to get the ball, if you want to touch the ball in a lot of small town high schools, running back is still the way to go. Right? I look at Vermont. There are a handful of places that'll throw the ball 40 times a game. I was at a game last year with Essex and MMU, or Essex and St. John's Bury, somebody. And the other team was throwing it a lot, but Essex ran the ball 35 times. My high school was lucky to throw 3 screen passes a game when they were only ever on 3rd and 18, and you knew they were going to punt anyways. So if you want to touch the ball, most kids will still want to be running backs, but if you're in a place like Texas or Florida, some football hotbed, you're already seeing kids go to receiver. But if you're in Iowa, a lot of kids are still going to be paying running back, no doubt about that. So it is the Brady Farkas Show, WDEV, AM and FM, WDEVradio.com. Again, the full show podcast will be available after the show is over. We'll have that up for you in about 15 minutes. The Lou Merloni interview is going to be up in about 15 minutes as well. Lou was great on the state of the Red Sox. Red Sox are back at it again tomorrow. They are taking on they're taking on the Atlanta Braves. So we'll have that game for you tomorrow night at 6:10. First pitch is 7:10. Thanks to Greg Titus for running the board today. Danny again out. He'll be back at it next Monday. Corm is in tomorrow. We'll see if he can work with me. I can be very, very difficult sometimes. So we'll see if he can handle the test. That's coming up tomorrow. Go download the podcast channel. Jazz with George Thomas is next on DEV.
Have your floor seen better days? Don't fret, because Sticks and Stuff is here to help with the Rescue My Floor contest. Enter your